Welcome into the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world in the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Got a lot of stuff to get into today, just like I always do. I feel like I say that a lot, and I feel like someone that listens to this show, they'll always talk about the stuff that Rob gets into every day is basically and that's interesting too. And we should be able to get into that this afternoon as well. But I got to start with the South Carolina basketball team. Last night, they lose 81-78 to Alabama. Just a gut-wrenching loss for the Gamecock program. Let's head out to the phones quickly here. Welcome into the show. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rob. It's Bobby and Casey.
Bobby, what's up, man?
Okay, well, you said South Carolina basketball.
Right.
But I'm going to take it in a quick direction real quick because it has to do with SEC East foe for South Carolina.
Right.
Someone who made an absolutely mess of Miami's defense, the Hurricanes, was Blake Baker, who Manny Diaz fired so he could take over defensive play calling duties.
Right.
Was rumored to be hired by Josh Heupel at Tennessee.
Right. He was at Auburn, though, right?
Yeah, he bounced. I think he went right to LSU as an assistant when Pelini and all those positions came open.
Right.
But now he was, and it's off of Jimmy Hyam's Twitter feed.
Yep.
That he's no longer the candidate as a defense coordinator.
Okay.
So I mean, anybody that's saying, yeah, Rob, go, so you can screw up Tennessee's defense more because I'm a Gamecock fan. It didn't happen. So I mean, I just thought I'd put that out there that he was rumored to. He's trying to fill out his staff as possible, have instant success. It's such a word is true for Tennessee, who's in a big mess with all the violations.
You know, and that's one of my questions I have for folks today. And we always have they're going to be back. I don't know who's going to be back first, Texas, Tennessee, or I don't know. You could throw Auburn into the mix. You could throw Michigan into the mix. Who's going to be back first? Because we constantly hear from their fans, oh, this is our year. We're going to be back. And Tennessee has been terrible for a long time now.
Yep.
I mean, a long time. So it's a mess up there at Tennessee, and we've talked about that before. But just I don't know. And one other thing on that, too, there is absolutely no loyalty when it comes to assistant coaches, man. They will drop in a nanosecond to go somewhere else. I mean, They truly don't care. The idea of, hey, I'm going to go somewhere and be there because of X, Y, or Z, they'll tell you that. Yeah. But in the end, they will completely go somewhere else.
Yeah.
In a nanosecond. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then in case you do have any gambling degenerates out there, I know it's a family show, but earlier today, Phil Kornblue tweeted on his sports talk media.
Yeah.
Get this. Furman 25-1, Wofford 40-1, South Carolina State 50-1, Citadel 50-1.
For what?
Anybody there has a friendly
for what?
A friendly national championship in FCS.
Okay.
Go to his thing. He goes all the way through. I mean, you got some teams at 400, 500-1. Why even try?
Yeah.
But I mean, he did tweet out those FCS odds to win the national championship.
Right.
So, of course, certain teams might still not even play their FCS season in the springtime.
You're right about that, man. We'll see how that goes, man. Thanks for calling the show today, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yep, anytime.
All right, there you go. Bobby joining the show. You can join the show as well, 803-978-1832. I stand by what I said. Assistant coaches don't care. And I know that sounds silly. When you look at a program, you think, okay, who's going to be, and especially now where we're going to have a lot of CEO type coaches. I think that's the next big thing. And it's coming down to that now, where you come in, and if you have the ability to sell, not necessarily just selling to recruits, but sell to the administration, sell to boosters, sell to everyone. That's the kind of coach that they want. You may not have to be the best X's and O's coaches in the world. You may not have to be that. But the thing is, you hire your assistants, and these assistants, though, they truly don't care because they want to be the CEO. Out to the phones we go. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Rundown.
Yeah, what's going on, man? What about them Gamecocks?
In basketball last night, man, they had a lapse of judgment. That's what I'm going to call it. Frank Martin had some strong words. We'll get into that momentarily. But what'd you think about Gamecock hoops last night?
Man, I like Frank Martin, man. Man. We keep talking about everybody keep talking about getting rid of Frank Martin, but I like Frank Martin, man. Look what we've done under Frank Martin.
Yeah.
Look what we tasted under Frank Martin.
Yeah.
He's, in my mind, he's equivalent. He's the same thing equivalent what Spurrier is for the football team.
Frank Martin is a great coach, and people that are talking about, hey, maybe you should get rid of him, I think you got to check back a little bit just with the stuff that he's done. He's always got talent there, but this season, though, man, I know people are tired of hearing about it, but I think it's the COVID season's like it's just an asterisk season in my mind, man. That's basically what it boils down to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly, they can't even stay on the court.
Yep.
What about Shane Beamer in your mind, man?
Well,
who do you
Shane
think
Beamer
going to be the standout? Going to be the standout starters here on the team.
Well, for the Gamecock football team, man, there's a ton of guys that have the opportunity to go out there and mix it up. But I like the new player, EJ Jenkins, that they got from St. Francis, 6'8", 235 pounds. If he can halfway run, which we don't know how he can do against SEC competition, but I mean, he is big enough that he can definitely possibly catch some balls in traffic and everything else. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the breakout star.
I got my eye on the quarterback that came with him.
Well, I don't think you should throw the young man from Myrtle Beach into the woods yet because he's played in some SEC games, so we'll see how that works out. But it's going to be.
Well, don't get me wrong, I love Lou Doty. I'm from Columbia. I live in Atlanta now. I'm from Columbia though.
Well, there you go. That's good.
I went to Eau Claire High School.
Okay, cool. You know about Coach Glimpse and all those guys, so.
Man, you know it. Go Jermaine O'Neal, buddy.
There you go. All right, man.
You have a good day now.
Appreciate it, buddy. All right. I mentioned I want to get into the Clemson thing for a moment here, and we'll take calls on assistance and all of that coming and going if you want to get into that. But LSU announced today that former Clemson linebacker Mike Jones is going to transfer from Clemson to play there. So when you think about that, obviously, if he's going to play for LSU, we knew that he had talent anyway. Just a tough loss there, in my opinion, for Clemson. And how, Clemson's got plenty of linebackers, though. Simpson's one of them. And you've also got the young man, Barrett, coming from Georgia, who is, they're going to be good linebackers, too. There's only so many snaps you can get. And maybe Mike Jones can see the writing on the wall and is like, look, man, I'm not going to get the snaps that I need. Because everybody wants to make it to the pros. That happens. They want to do that. But in the end, there's only so many snaps. So that happens on that front as well. Also, Clemson lost another player today to the transfer portal. And this is a defensive back, as I'm pulling that up right now. The Clemson defensive back that entered the transfer portal is LeAnthony Williams. He played 264 snaps for Clemson. He's a senior. He had 22 tackles, and he didn't really get the time that he needed as well. So 2 hits there to the Clemson defense. I know that people are going to look at it from a perspective of, Clemson loses a couple of players, but the reality is that, I think both of those guys were going to have a hard time making it onto the field. And then you're going to have guys now are just set on, I want to play now. And if I can't play now, I'm going to go somewhere else. And I'll tell you what, tomorrow on the show, we're going to have a USC Sumter baseball coach Tim Medlin on with us, and he's going to talk about the transfer portal as far as how it works with baseball and how it really is screwing up a lot of teams. He's going to talk also about the scholarship situation, because you've had so many people that were last year were told, hey, you can come back, but how that's affecting, especially baseball, where you only have so many scholarships. I think that teams like, you're going to have your tried and true programs, the SEC, ACC teams in college baseball that are going to do well regardless. Okay. They're going to have a lot of talent there, but there's going to be not quite enough space on some of those teams for some really good players. That's why I think teams like teams from the SoCon, teams from the American, smaller conferences are going to have really, really, really good baseball teams this year, because they're going to get an infusion of talent. And junior colleges, they're going to have a lot more too, because the talent slides down is basically the way that it comes to you. You may have been a gem in the rough at a SoCon school, but there's no room for you now, because they can have a D1 guy just slide right into your spot. So you don't get to play. So then you have to transfer to a school like USC Sumter. That's the way that things are working right now, man. It's interesting, but that's the way it goes on the football front too. The days of young men coming in and doing, that's why it was so fascinating with Mac Jones and Kyle Trask. They worked their way up from being where it's like, all right, and I'm sure there were people that were telling them, even at the beginning of this season, I bet that Mac Jones had people in his ears saying, you know what? Maybe you're not quite good enough to be the quarterback at Alabama. Have you heard about this number one kid behind you, Bryce Young? Yeah, he's the number one recruit overall. Why are you wasting our time out there? Luckily, I'm not saying Bryce Young's going to be a guy that's going to be down in the doldrums for Alabama. I think he's going to be great. But Mac Jones was lights out for Alabama this year. And if you're an Alabama fan, you're thankful for the fact that he put in the time to stay there and earn his spot. And that's going to pay off for him, because he's going to go in the NFL. I mean, I don't know when he's going to be drafted. He may shoot up the draft boards. I don't know. Mikkel online says, I think he's seeing that the Clemson program can go down. I think he's talking about Mike Jones. I don't know what Mike Jones is thinking. All I know is that he thinks the grass is greener on the other side at LSU, and he thinks that he may get more playing time there. I don't know. But there's little things that can hinder you. I mean, and the transfer thing does work sometimes. Remember, Baker Mayfield started at Texas Tech. It works that way. Jalen Hurts had a great year at Oklahoma after he sat at Alabama. So in the end, the transfer portal can work. Being a transfer can work. Justin Fields transferred from Georgia up to Ohio State. I firmly believe that at Georgia, he may not have gotten the playing time that he got at Ohio State. And you can look at other examples. Joe Burrow's transferring from Ohio State down to LSU. Worked out well for him there. So it does work, but I do think that talent will eventually rise to the top. And I worry that sometimes some kids, and I say kids, I know that they're grown men. I think some kids get in their head that they're better than they actually are. And I'm not saying this about Mike Jones. I'm saying this about the 1,500 players in the transfer portal, or however many that it is. But everybody wants that new spot. And it's sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call. If you want to join us here on The Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400, we're going to talk about the national anthem with Mark Cuban later on. What a disaster that's turned out to be. I think my perspective on it's a little different than everybody else's. We'll get into that momentarily. I want to, we'll get more into the Gamecock basketball program, what happened with them last night. Frank Martin. Let me play you a Frank Martin clip. And this should sum up the entire Gamecock basketball season. Just this one clip from Frank Martin, and we'll dive more into this later on. But Yeah, this clip right here.
I don't have an answer for you. That's the frustrating thing of the moment that we're in right now. And it's not because of what happened in December. I mean, we've been going now. This is week 4 where we're going at a consistent basis. We got older players. We got guys that should understand the sacrifices that players before them have made to create the atmosphere that we've built here. Because let's sit down here. Let's be honest here. We've got the 3rd most SEC wins in the last 5 years in the whole league. We've got 19 or 20 top 20 wins since I've been here. Yeah, so it's a lot of guys have sacrificed a lot to build that because those numbers didn't exist here before we got here. And it's disappointing that guys have been in the program for 3 years and 4 years slip up in that moment like that.
So there's Coach Frank Martin last night, obviously upset, and a lot of it had to do with at the end of the game, the Gamecocks were down 3 points, and he put in a play, and we'll let him explain it to you. Here's his comments on the last shot. Basically, what happened was he put in a play. They basically didn't run the play and ended up getting just a layup and sending Alabama to the free throw line. Here are the comments on just that last shot from last night where USC falls 81-78.
We ran something where there's 3 different options for a 3-point shot. And Alabama stood around the 3-point line, and instead of running what we asked to run, we just kind of just no mental connection with the situation. And
basically what Coach Martin is trying to say is, I put in a play and they just didn't run it. I mean, I don't know what else you could possibly say that. Just saying, when watching that play last night, you're down 3 points, right? I mean, it was almost, some people were throwing stuff out there that it was almost on the line of Chris Webber taking a timeout when he didn't have it. Of course, everybody for Alabama standing at the 3-point line. A 2-point shot doesn't hurt them. You want to lay it up all you want. We're up 3. As soon as we bring the ball in, we got to go shoot free throws. So, I mean, a mess. Nectarios has a good point here. South Carolina is struggling to find a replacement for Mike Kotsar. Very good point, sir. Out to the phones, 803-978-1832. Here we go. And welcome to the rundown.
Hey, good afternoon, Rob. It's Ray. How are you doing
Ray,
today?
what's going on, man? What'd you think of the game last night?
Oh, my goodness. Well, let's start off. Well, they hung tough with the 11th ranked team in the country, so they did some things there. Now, I thought a real turning point, or a point that really killed them, was, I don't know, there's about 5 minutes left, and Alabama shooting a 1-on-1. The guy missed the front end. And the same guy that missed the shot, he went and got his rebound. He proceeded to get his own rebound, which is, you hardly ever see that. I mean, you're not blocking out. He kicks out to a 3-pointer. He misses. They get the rebound, kick out again. The guy nails the 3-pointer. That was like a dagger. So then they got up by 4. And then I got to get to to that last play there. I've heard people say that Bama allowed the guy to come in to see if it'd fall for it. I don't think that was it at all. They just lined up and they were going to guard the 3-point play. To be honest with you, I'm surprised this isn't getting talked about. I don't even know why Mania was inside the 3-point arc. I mean, there's only 2 seconds or 3 seconds left. I mean,
right.
I don't even know why he was standing around there. That hasn't been addressed. And to me, it was a team that was totally lost. And I'm sure Coach Martin put a play in, but
right.
And
Coach Martin said that there was 3 different options for a 3-point shot. They just didn't run the play. I mean, that's basically what it boils down to. They didn't even try to run the play. They did the exact opposite of what their coach told them to do. So,
yeah, and Rob, I'm sorry. And when I was watching the play, I wasn't even watching who was triggering the ball in. I was looking at the guys beyond the arc. As soon as the ball went into Mania, and I saw it was Cousinard, I was like, oh my goodness! I said, God, if Webster Dictionary had a definition of a sophomore jinx or sophomore bad luck or whatever they call it, I think Cousinar's picture would be right there. I mean, you're talking about a kid who was an all-SEC freshman last year, and, the poor guy just hasn't been able to get it going this year.
Well, we'll see if they can right the ship there. I agree with what Nectaros said online that, the inside presence just isn't there, but he's right. This is probably the most talent-rich team they've had in years. I mean, it would not surprise me if AJ Lawson's going to be drafted in the NBA regardless. And I think that Seventh Woods is going to be a guy that's probably going to be a free agent in the NBA. It would not surprise me at all. That's basically your starting backcourt there. And Minaya is a guy that it seems like the sky is the limit for him, but then he just has plays where he just kind of checks out. And I'm not trying to rip the young man. I'm just saying that I think he's capable of being a much better player than what he's put out there. I know he's working hard. I'm not questioning his work ethic. It's just sometimes he's got to be able to put it all together. And when he does, I think he's going to be a good player too eventually. But I think the Gamecocks are running out of time right now.
I agree 100%, Rob. I think Madonna, but usually those.
All right, your phone's breaking up on me, Ray, man. I appreciate you calling.
All right. Okay, adios.
Thanks, man. All right, and out to the phones we go. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Rundown.
Hey, man, I'm calling back. Listen, I played against Seventh Woods, man.
Yeah.
I played against him in high school.
Okay.
And in middle school, we grew up together. He's from the same area. I'm from the side of town.
Right.
I never liked Seventh Woods' game. He never developed a shot from the outside, and that was my problem with him. If he could develop a.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to shoot the ball as a guard. I give you that, but I mean, I think when he was in the game last night for South Carolina, they were a better team. When he got the 2 fouls in the first half, and Frank Martin sent him to the bench, which is what Frank Martin does. I'm not knocking Coach Martin on that. The offense just didn't flow as well without him out there. So
I like Seven Woods. I think he overall makes them a better team, but I just feel like it comes in spurts.
Yeah.
And that we don't need. We need consistency.
Well, being consistent is not the easiest thing in the world, man. But hey, I appreciate you calling me, buddy.
You said, yes, sir. Thank you for the call.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. All right, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more for you here on the Rundown. We're going to talk about the basketball game. We're also going to talk about the national anthem with Dallas, how that's turned into a disaster. We're going to talk about Clemson losing players in the transfer portal. All of that. We can get into all of that here this afternoon on the Rundown. Here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Jordan's right, man. Remember when he was at and he had I went and watched him play a game in high school. And in Hammond, he was absolutely outstanding. JW's got a good point there that about the delay. They've had several delays. Frank Martin's caught COVID-19 twice. Wrap your head around that for a minute. Justin says, I don't like where South Carolina basketball is headed. Time is running out for Frank Martin. My thing with that is, and I'm going to use Justin Pate from the 247 Sports Channel. I believe this is the same way with basketball as it is with football, baseball, whatever. If you're going to fire your coach, you need to have the ability to have someone else that's going to come in that is going to be better. You better have a replacement option. And think of it from this perspective. As respected as Frank Martin is, who are you going to get at South Carolina that's going to be better than Frank Martin? It's going to bring you more than what Frank Martin has done. Just saying. I mean, I know the Final Four was a long time ago. I get that, ladies and gentlemen. I completely get that. And I know people get tired of every March. You scroll out. Yes, it's Josh Pate. I don't know why I'm losing my brain on that. Thank you. Josh Pate. Thank you, Brock. Brock's here to correct me every day. I need to get Brock a t-shirt and send to him. Anyway, Josh Pate. I don't want to think of Justin, but Josh Pate said that, you got to have the replacement. But I know it's hard when you see that. And I know it's hard when you see this new team and they have so much talent with guys that were wanted by several different schools. And now you just don't have it, man. It's kind of a mess, in my opinion. All right, here we go. Well, welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeart Radio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us here today. We're taking your calls 803-978-1832. Gamecocks fall short against Alabama. And by the way, I've said this on this show, the Alabama basketball team is a team that's going to lose early in the NCAA tournament. Now, I know you watched them last night, South Carolina fans, and you're thinking, this is the 11th ranked team in the country. I get that. I'm just telling you, with the style of play that they have, they shoot a lot of threes. And when you shoot a lot of threes and you turn the ball over as much as they do, which they turn the ball over a lot, it's going to be feast or famine. And in my opinion, it's going to be famine this year, just the way that I feel about it. When you have a team that plays good defense, we can use the Clemson Tigers. We can use Western Kentucky, who's beaten them this year. Alabama's one of the most overrated teams in college basketball, and I'll stand behind that. And I know people are going to say they did this, that, and everything else. It comes down in basketball to what you do in the tournament. You can be great in the regular season, but if you lose in the first round or the second round of the tournament, it ends up being flat. Seriously, that's just kind of the way it works out. We'll take calls on that at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you want to join us here on the Rundown. We the fallout from last night's basketball game, we can get into that. Clemson's Mike Jones going to LSU. I think that he is going to go to LSU, and I think he's going to star. I think that the linebacker room was just a little too crowded at Clemson. I think he's going to go there and do some great things. We haven't heard the last of Mike Jones. Now, obviously, if he stays healthy, because you never know going out there playing football. It is a contact sport. But I think Mike Jones is a good pickup for LSU. JW says that he agrees with Nectarios in the comments over here. I don't think the problem is Frank Martin. He goes, and then JW says that's what's going wrong with them. They haven't got it together yet. They're waiting for the SEC tournament. Well, sir, if they don't have an SEC tournament, then what? Then what? Because I think that's something that's going to happen across the board. I'm telling you, the next week or so, there's going to be a lot of lobbying for, do we really want to have an SEC tournament? Do we want to have an ACC tournament? Now, I know they're going to have the SEC commissioner, the ACC commissioner. They're probably sitting there thinking, we got to have it because of the money portion that comes with it. But the reality is this. It comes back to who's going to sue who. And if you get everyone together and send them to Nashville, Greensboro, wherever your tournament is, you risk them possibly contracting COVID-19. Yeah, it's just not. I think a lot of these tournaments are going to go away. You've got some teams that have already opted out of playing the rest of the season. Not on the Power 5 level yet, but what was it? Howard University said they're not playing anymore this season. Remember, we just had Miami and North Carolina cancel their game the other night after video from North Carolina celebrating a win over Duke. Man, those guys are tied up in that rivalry, man. I understand that the four-letter network throws at us. This is the biggest rivalry in college athletics. First of all, it's not. I don't care. If you play 3 times a year, it's kind of hard for it to be, one of these big, huge rivalries, in my opinion, because you see each other so much. It's a mess on that front. But with that happening, I think the tournaments are going to go away. We'll take calls on that. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832 is the number to call. We're going to talk about the national anthem disaster when we come back. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yo, the Clemson basketball team is hot dog water, man. I don't care what anybody says. You watch Clemson hoops, man. It's just hard. I kind of agree with UK's terrible. They're not very good. Tom's asking about Mike Jones. Mike Jones just I think he's got 3 years of eligibility left, if I remember correctly. And Mike Jones is going to be a guy that I think he's going to be good. I really do. I just think there's just not enough room for him in the linebacker room up there. So I think he'll play at LSU too. You know, I look back at his stats for last season. He didn't play a lot of snaps, but he ended up with 2 interceptions. I think he's a great coverage linebacker. So now Bo Pelini may screw him up. He screwed up a lot of things down at LSU. You never know. I think I got rid of Bo Pelini, didn't they? My LSU folks that are watching will be upset about that. But yeah, I think he's going to be fine. I really do. I appreciate you guys joining me on the show today, man. You guys are awesome over there. It's kind of cool to come in and chat with you folks. Brock, you're funny, dude. The Red Bull today, I had a peach one. I had a peach Red Bull. I just had a headline that's hilarious. I'll share that with you when we come back. Oh goodness. This line's hilarious. Oh man.
Sports Radio. Fox. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400.
Welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. This headline came just across like literally seconds ago. Maybe I just caught it. Apparently this was out last night. How bad is it at Tennessee right now? Their punter is transferring to NC State. In-state, not NC State. Oof. In-state. Their punter, Joe Doyle, has announced that he will transfer to Memphis. How crummy of a program do you have to be if you're an SEC school and you lose your punter to an in-state program? If you don't believe that Tennessee is on fire, and I know that people are, there's lots of people that are trying to feed you this thing of, maybe the allegations and stuff just aren't that bad. I know the athletic director said all of these things, but they said all of that to get rid of Jeremy Pruitt. Maybe you can buy into that. Maybe you can buy into all of that if you want. But when you look at it from just this perspective, Tennessee has lost their punter to Memphis. I don't even know where to go with that. 86 punts for 3,542 yards, a career long of 71 yards, 17 punts inside the 20-yard line, and 8 touchbacks. How do you lose your punter to Memphis? How in the world does that happen? That's why I laugh at people when they tell me, "Oh, you just watch, Rob. Tennessee's going to be back. They're going to be back soon." Then you hear the lies about Texas is going to be back. Texas is going to be back too, Rob. That's all happening. And I just keep flowing right through the Twitter feed. I don't even stop when the people are sending me I get direct messages about that on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. You just wait, you loudmouth. Tennessee's they're gonna come back and they're gonna finish second in the East this year. I got that tweet a couple weeks ago and literally laughed myself silly. I don't even know where to go when it comes from that. Hey, I'm just going to throw back. That's my thing with Tennessee. You can't keep your punter in school. He's going to transfer to Memphis. Memphis is a better school in Tennessee to go punt at right now than Tennessee is. Now, the smart aleck Tennessee fan will say one thing. Well, at least it's not Vanderbilt. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Tennessee is dumpster juice. Thank you for that, JW. David says Tennessee is on fire, a dumpster fire. Tom says their punter won the belt competition. Oh, man. All right, so I got to get into this really quick today, and this story kind of bugged me a little bit. The NBA is requiring teams now to play the national anthem after Mark Cuban axed the song for Mavs games. So Mark Cuban came out and said, yeah, we're not going to play the national anthem anymore. Now, you can look at this from two perspectives. When you first heard it, you said, man, Mark Cuban sucks. Why is he doing that? But you can also look at it from a different perspective. But the NBA came first and said, no, you've got to play the national anthem. Now, why do you think they did that? Because if you don't have the national anthem, you don't have the point where the messages from players, the kneeling and etc. can come out. That's why the NBA wants it back. The NBA is not coming across, they're trying to come across as they're more patriotic about it. No, I look at it from this perspective. Mark Cuban said point blank, we're not going to play this at the Mavs games because, in my opinion, he didn't want the national anthem disrespected. That's kind of the way I look at it. Now, I could be wrong on that, but that's just the way that I feel the more and more I think about it. And the NBA comes back at it a little bit and says, no, you have to have that national anthem. They think they look better with that. And Cuban has to do what the NBA says. I get that. But I think in Cuban's mind, if we were to inject him with the truth serum here, he would say point blank, I don't want the national anthem disrespected, so I'm not going to play it. We're not going to give the opportunity, give them the stage to do that. That's just, in my opinion, where I stand with that. I don't know. I don't have anything behind the scenes, just my opinion. We'll take calls on that at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call. If you want to talk about Mike Jones transferring to LSU, we can get into that. David's saying that Cuban would say buy Doge. Of course, talking about the Doge coin. Hilarious stuff there. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Lots of bashing of Tennessee over there as their punter has decided, hey, I want to go to Memphis. And I know there's probably some Memphis fans out there that are like, hey, we've got a good football program. I get that. But to transfer from an SEC program to go to Memphis, wow. Also, we'll take your comments on the basketball game last night if you want to get into that. And one other thing I wanted to throw out there. You know, we're coming up on spring practices getting underway. I know Clemson starts 2 weeks from today. I can't remember when South Carolina starts off the top of my head. But if they have a spring game, are you going to go? That's a big thing. I was talking to a friend of the program, Positive Mike, about that earlier today. How many people are they going to let in? I mean, and the other aspect of it too is for next season, what in your opinion do you think is going to happen as far as the at full capacity by the time the season starts? It's fun to look ahead at that kind of thing. We'll see how that works out. I know we're going to have a spring game for both schools. The question is, would you go as a fan? 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call. If you'd like to join us here on the rundown this afternoon, if you want to sound off on what Mark Cuban did and what the NBA did, that's fine. I got to read David's comment. The punter was intimidated by hashtag first base recruiting class of all time. And he's mocking Alabama. JW says their Bama game, spring game, no fans. I think that there's going to have to be a point, sort of like with the UFC when they were one of the first events to come back. Someone's going to have to jump off head first. Who's going to do it first? I think it may be baseball in the middle of the season. We'll see how that works out. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. I will not be transferring from Tennessee because I wouldn't go there anyway. But if I did, I wouldn't go to Memphis. Why don't you just opt out for the pros? You might have a better chance. I mean, he's got the 71-yard punt. He's obviously got the leg to do something. No, I'd rather go to Memphis. Wow, that's funny. All right, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. We can talk about anything that we've rattled on about here today on the rundown. You are listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. David, you're killing me, brother. Absolutely killing me. I have water in this thing. And by the way, who was talking to me earlier about the Red Bull I'm drinking? I'm going to need you guys over there in the chat. I'm doing this weightlifting competition, and I've got to cut out all of my Red Bull and everything else, or my coach is going to break a foot off in me. It's got to happen. So if you see me drinking Red Bull, just politely tell me, stop drinking that, you chunky bastard. That'll be the best thing you guys could tell me over there. I would really appreciate that. I got to wear that damn singlet. I'm not looking forward to that either. Why am I doing a weightlifting thing as old as I am? What the hell do I have to prove to anybody? I know I can lift heavy stuff. I don't get it. I've found a singlet, dude. It's not an issue of size. What's wrong with you, David? Oh, there's not enough McDonald's bags to bring Tennessee back. Hilarious. Dude, you're funny. That may be the line of the day right there. Ooh-wee. Are we talking soccer over here? What's going on with that? I mean, I understand it's like a worldwide sport and all, but you need to slow down with all that SEC, dog. I thought we were getting along. I thought we were friends, SEC, dog. I really did. Welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeart Radio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Quote of the day from JW. There's not enough McDonald's bags to bring Tennessee back. Come on, man. Oh, man. I got nothing on that. There's not enough McDonald's bags to bring Tennessee back. You, sir, are on top of the world there. Tom says Tennessee's just waiting around for Peyton Jr. to lead them out of the abyss. Ah, goodness. Look, that's something we talked about who's going to be back first, and I'm not sure who's going to be back first, but Tennessee's definitely probably of the, 5 schools that claim, oh, we're coming back. We're going to be back first. I think Tennessee's at number 5. I've kind of said forever that Texas would be the team that I thought would be in the doldrums forever, but I kind of like what Steve Sarkisian's doing. And I know that he has his past, and his past isn't exactly the greatest as far as when he was a head coach. But the reality is that what he did at Alabama and showing his offensive might there, basically, and the ability to put together a great Alabama offense. Now, I know he had all the tools there. But the reality is that he put that together. Texas may be the first, in my opinion. Out to the phones we go, 803-978-1832. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Rob, it's Bobby and KC.
Hi, buddy.
Since you and Swan are pretty much carry the mail for Clemson.
I don't carry the mail for
Slate,
anyone. I like to drink Red Bull and chew bubble gum, sir. I don't carry mail.
Okay. James Slater and Ian Rappaport's Twitter page is saying that in Trevor Lawrence's pro day, someone named Cornell Powell, who had a big Senior Bowl week, will be catching passes from Trevor on his pro day.
Well, that's a big deal because he's comfortable. I'm sure that Trevor Lawrence set that up, and that puts a spotlight on Cornell Powell as well. So, that's a big deal.
It does. But don't forget, I hear that Trevor Lawrence has a torn labrum. He has to get repaired after this show.
Right.
In his non-throwing shoulder.
Yeah, so I don't know how that's going to affect him. He's not going to be bouncing off linebackers and everything else. But
but still, I mean, if he's got the best wide receiver, it'll keep his draft stock up because, people get nervous at the last minute in the draft. Who did the surgery? Has he rehabilitated? Everybody always has doubt when you got essentially an injured player. Even though he throws with one shoulder, I guess he's right-handed and he hurt it in his left. But
right. Well, here's my thing on that. Trevor Lawrence doesn't have to throw for pro day, and he's still number 1.
Okay.
I truly believe that. Now, I could be wrong, but I guarantee you if the Jacksonville Jaguars pass on him at number 1, it's going to be like the 13 teams that passed on Deshaun Watson, like the Chicago Bears, drafting Mitch Trubisky and wishing that they had Deshaun Watson because they would have probably done a lot better than they have with Trubisky, in my opinion.
Okay. All right, Rob. I just thought I'd mention that out there. That's on your Rappaport's Twitter feed.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. All right, there you go. Bobby bringing us some information there. Lawrence is having to deal with that. His pro day is on Friday. ESPN's basically having Trevor Lawrence Day, by the way. They're going to broadcast the entire pro day on the ACC network and ESPN too. So, there's that. And he's going to throw to his number 1 target this year in Cornell Powell, which is, in wrestling, they had the thing called the Hogan rub, where they would get guys to wrestle Hulk Hogan and sprinkle what Bruce Pritchard, the executive producer of the wrestling from that time with Vince McMahon, they called it the Hogan dust on whoever Hulk Hogan would wrestle. They would get up, and then people are like, wow, he's wrestling this guy. This guy must be really good. It's the same theory when it comes to this, in my opinion. Sprinkle a little killing me on the comments today. You sprinkle a little bit of that Trevor Lawrence dust on him there, and then go from there. SEC Dog says, I thought Clemson needed linebackers. They had to play the coach's son last year, and he sucks. Just saying. Well, apparently, SEC Dog forgets that the one linebacker that Georgia wanted, the young man named Barrett, that's out of Atlanta, I believe. He told Georgia, I don't really want to go there. I want to go to Clemson. Yeah, he's going to get a chance to play. And of course, the other man, Trent Simpson, who will get a lot more snaps now. So there's that. David Penn says Mac Jones is the number 1 overall pick. Roll Tide. Thank you for that, David. Big LSU fan, but no, he's had to be an Alabama fan saying that. Twan says Muschamp do the job in coordinating roles, not so much as a head coach. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think eventually over time, he may end up doing the track that I think Kirby Smart is starting his own school of misplaced coaches, sort of like what Alabama's doing with where they had Butch Jones and Steve Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin and all these guys. I think that's what's happening at Georgia, and it may work out well for them. If something happens and you lose your defensive coordinator, you've got a guy that has coached at 2 SEC schools, been a defensive coordinator at Texas and a defensive coordinator at Auburn, and did really good on that front. Maybe that's a spot where Muschamp can move back up. You never know. I mean, we goof on that because he was a 2-time failure as far as being a head coach in the SEC. But as far as being a defensive coordinator, he can coach defense. He has the ability to bring in good defensive players. Can't really argue that. And we goof on it a lot here in Columbia, but it looks like a solid addition there to the staff for Georgia. I don't like the idea of, hey, he's going to analyze the coaches. Nah, here's what I want you to do. I want you to help the defensive backs because I know that's what you're good at. If I'm the CEO of the program there, that's what I'm going with. And that's what he should be doing. But analyzing the coaches, I don't think I want to do that. I don't think that's the big thing. People making fun of me online because I'm going to do a weightlifting competition in June and I have to wear a singlet. Stop all of that. David says he's going to give me a front wedgie in that singlet if I call him a Tide fan again. Well, he should stop saying Roll Tide. Just saying. Stop saying Roll Tide. Blake says coaching rehab university. Pruitt only got dirty when he left Alabama. Easy there, buddy. Easy, buddy. Brock says Muschamp may be the best, the next George Jefferson one day. Moving on up. I need to add that to my repertoire of sound clips up here. Moving on up because that's what happens, right? All right, tomorrow on the rundown, don't forget, we're going to have an actual college coach. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, USC Sumter coach Tim Medlin joins us, and he's going to talk to us about the scholarship situation and how that's affecting every sport. How, going to the transfer portal seems like a great thing, but in reality, it could come back and bite. So be sure to check us out tomorrow for that. Taiwan says, you already think Clemson lost 80% of the offense? Yeah, I don't think they lost that much of the offense. I think losing Trevor Lawrence and losing Travis Etienne is huge. Don't get me wrong. But on the other end, I think Clemson's offense will be fine. So there you go with that. All right, Lawton Swan of Clemson Sports Talk is next. The czar of Clemson Sports on the vast Clemson Sports Talk radio network. You should listen to his show. Whether you're a Gamecock, Bulldog fan, whatever, it's just a great show. I know there are lots of Gamecock fans that listen to the show. They don't want to come out and say it. They don't want to do that. But they listen, and you should too. Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan here every day from 4 to 6.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Exactly. Be sure to check him out. He also likes to sing show tunes, so please call him up. Tell him you want to hear him sing something from Rent. He can belt it out for you. My name is Rob Sanders. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. I'm at Rob Sounds Good. Appreciate the online audience today. And, of course, podcast will be up at 5 o'clock. USC Sumter coach Tim Medlin on with us tomorrow. This is the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Hey, y'all. Me and Jack Potter back at it tonight, 9:30. Folks watching over here, you guys can tune in for that. I look forward to seeing some of y'all in there. Take some calls, goof off, all kinds of good stuff tonight. See if I can get Jackpot to lose his gizzards. I did see his thing where he talked about the disaster at Hardee's. Boy, you could tell by Jackpot's face he was not happy. He was not happy at all. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys. It means a lot. You spend some time with me every day. I know I tell you that every day. I say some foul stuff, but you guys are awesome. Thanks for checking out the show. We'll see you tonight.